world is currently focused on the Strait of Hormuz. Tensions have reached their peak in the last 24 hours. Welcome to the Military Report. Today we're not just summarizing the news. We're deciphering the operational reality of the U.S.-Iran-Israel conflict. The U.S. struck Iranian nuclear facilities with bunker-busting missiles. The U.S. Army used a B-2 Spiritbomber and GBU-57/B bombs. Satellite imagery revealed that a facility linked to Iran's nuclear program was targeted in a new attack. The Taildon-2 complex at Parchin military base was targeted. 3 large, precise impact points are visible on the roof of the facility. This likely indicates the use of GBU-57/B massive ordnance penetrator bunker-busting bombs. Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) fighter pilots identified and killed soldiers at the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters in central Tehran in an airstrike. Dozens of Israeli Air Force fighter jets carried out further attacks on regime targets in Tehran using military reconnaissance guidance. Targets destroyed included headquarters and command centers used by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Air Force, the building of the Qasr Imam Hussein Central Military University, storage and production facilities for ballistic missiles and anti-aircraft missiles ready for launch. At the same time, attacks were carried out on the headquarters and bases of the internal security forces and the basage. Attacks were also conducted on the Iranian regime's intelligence headquarters, which the IDF calls a ministry. The surge of Brent oil above $100 screams that the planet's energy security is at stake. On the 13th day of the war, 16 Iranian mine-laying ships have been destroyed by CENTCOM. But the threat to maritime trade remains critical. Today, we analyze the drone swarms, advanced air defense systems, and the latest directives from the White House.
Terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury!
President Trump described the operations as Epic Fury and claimed that Iran's military infrastructure has been crippled. But is this claim the whole picture, or is there a strategic impasse in the Gulf? Your strategic briefing begins. These details are vital to understanding the next 48 hours. President Trump's rhetoric has shifted from containment to total tactical dominance. In his latest briefing from the White House, the president stated, "We have executed a precision strike campaign that has set Iran's regional military capabilities back by a decade." He specifically highlighted the Epic Fury operation, noting that U.S. forces have successfully dismantled key command and control hubs in Tehran and surrounding military districts. Trump's message to the American public is clear. This is a decisive campaign, not a protracted occupation. However, military analysts within the Pentagon are offering a more tempered view. While the initial waves of the campaign have undeniably degraded high-value targets, the decentralized nature of Iranian forces, particularly the IRGC's distributed missile batteries, has proven harder to suppress than anticipated. The president's insistence that the war will be over sooner than anyone thinks is being tested by the reality on the ground. As we analyze the latest satellite imagery, we see that despite these strikes, the logistical throughput of the Iranian military continues to function, albeit at a significantly reduced capacity. We are tracking the gap between political rhetoric and the tactical battlefield reality. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical maritime bottleneck, is currently a red zone. Following the destruction of 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels, the threat has not diminished. It has only evolved. The presence of suicide boats and deep-water acoustic mines has effectively halted commercial traffic. Major shipping conglomerates have suspended all transit, citing insurance premiums that have skyrocketed to levels not seen since the 1980s tanker war. The economic ripple effects are already hitting global stock markets. With Brent crude hovering at $105 per barrel, the pressure on the U.S. to clear the strait is mounting. CENTCOM has deployed specialized mine countermeasure (MCM) units, but the environment is hostile. The Iranian strategy is simple: turn the strait into a graveyard. By forcing the world to acknowledge that the corridor is unusable, they are attempting to use global economic desperation as a shield against further strikes. We are watching the tactical movements of the carrier strike groups in the region, which are currently focused on providing air cover for clearance operations. This is a delicate, dangerous dance, and any misstep could lead to the closure of the strait for weeks, not days. In war, information is the most valuable commodity. Currently, there is a massive intelligence gap between the Pentagon's official reports and the ground reality. While the U.S. Department of Defense claims that 5,000+ targets in Lebanon and Iran have been successfully struck, local sources and open-source intelligence, OSINT, analysts suggest that many of these strikes were aimed at hardened, secondary targets, not the primary missile production facilities. This is a critical distinction. If the primary strike capability remains intact, the conflict is far from crippled. Furthermore, there is the issue of the Iranian leadership. Reports confirm that Mojtaba Khamenei, though injured in recent strikes, remains in command and continues to direct forces from protected, underground facilities. This suggests that the decapitation strike strategy favored by some planners has not achieved its stated goal of ending the resistance. We are tracking the movements of these underground command centers through seismic and thermal signatures. Our goal at the military report is to provide you with the data that is being filtered out of mainstream news cycles, ensuring you have the full, unfiltered operational picture. Behind every strategy and every missile strike is an undeniable humanitarian and economic cost. UNICEF reports have confirmed over 1,100 casualties among children and non-combatants, a statistic that is fueling global outcry and internal political pressure on the Trump administration. Simultaneously, the economic impact is being felt in every household. A barrel of oil at $105 is not just a number. It's a tax on every American consumer. Inflation projections for Q2 of 2026 are being revised upward by the hour. The question remains, how long can the American public support a high-intensity war that directly impacts their wallets and the global economic stability? The humanitarian dimension is also being used as a wedge in international diplomacy. Regional allies are becoming increasingly vocal about the need for a de-escalation, fearing that the long-term instability caused by this conflict will be far more damaging than the short-term gains of a military victory. We continue to monitor the humanitarian corridors, which, as of this morning, remain largely inaccessible to international aid organizations due to the intensity of the ongoing air campaign. As we look ahead, the trajectory of this war is moving toward a tipping point. President Trump has signaled that the next 72 hours are crucial for the future of the region. If the U.S. can clear the Strait of Hormuz and force a ceasefire through overwhelming pressure, the conflict may subside into a low-intensity containment phase. However, if Iran's missile and drone capabilities remain largely functional, we could see a dangerous expansion of the war into neighboring territories. Intelligence reports suggest a potential mobilization of proxies in Iraq and Syria, which would force the U.S. to stretch its thin logistics lines even further. We at the military report will continue to follow these movements, providing the analysis you need to understand the big picture. Will this conflict escalate into a regional conflagration, or is a fragile peace on the horizon? We will be here every step of the way to report on the developments as they happen. Thank you for your continued support and for choosing to stay informed. Don't forget to subscribe for our daily tactical updates. Stay strategic.